Hey guys, this is my premiere podcast for the Simply Sugar News channel. I'm Simply Sugar. Sugar is a nickname that was given to me when I was born by my family. I was born and raised in New York. I'm a New York Rican. My mother was born here, my father born on the island, but they're both Puerto Rican. What else about me? I'm 50 years old. I'm married. I am an empty nester. My child is 26 years old. I decided to start doing the news because I was turned off of um, traditional news stations because of the coverage, because of them censoring certain things, and I wanted to come on here and give a voice. And I'm sure that there are many other voices, but this is my way of, I guess, helping. I put that in quotation marks for those of you watching the video because I don't know if I'm helping. I think I'm helping. I think I lend an opinion and a voice um, for those of us who are afraid to speak up, and for those of us who are turned off of the regular news channel. And I'm just a plain old person from New York who works hard for a living. My husband works two jobs. Um, and I am doing this. Plus, I have a couple of other side hustles to survive like everybody else. So let's start here. So we're going to recap the week starting from April 7th. And I have my notebook here. Again, I'm old school, so I actually write the news stories down and then I just state my opinion. So let's get started here. By the way, you can catch me on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky. I really don't post there that much. I haven't gotten into it yet, but I never even got into Twitter, so there's that. So on April 7th, the morning of, we learned that Dow futures have fallen because the tariff information just started coming out strong, especially against China. But, you know, at that time, he was putting tariffs on everyone and raising the stakes. When I say he, I mean President Trump and his shadow president, Elon Musk. All right, but we'll get back to that in probably another session here. So the Japan markets paused after a major sell-off in their topics futures, and Trump made some truth social stating that sometimes you have to take your medicine, and this is for the regular American people who are struggling as it is. So I'm curious as to what medicine you want us to take. Uh, Getting rid of our pensions, getting rid of our little 401ks. I'm 50 years old, by the way, and yeah, I've lost thousands and thousands of dollars in my 401k. Not that I have much in there because you got to borrow sometimes to survive, and I am guilty of that. So yeah, so there's that. So this has put me back years. I won't be able to retire anytime soon. Not that I had planned on to, but even at 62, I was looking at there's no way. There's no way unless a miracle happens. See, just like everybody else out here struggling. Also, that day, we learned that Chief Justice John Roberts of the Supreme Court indefinitely paused the case involving Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Now, this person was sold to a concentration camp. They like to say deported uh, to a prison camp in El Salvador. Now, we did pay El Salvador about $6 million to take, I think, about 400 prisoners who we claimed were in a gang, but this particular person, I'm sure many others, had no gang affiliations, had no criminal history, had no record of being a part of any gang. They probably just had tattoos and they were Hispanic. So you know what? Automatic gang member. We're gonna get you the hell out of here, and that's exactly what they did. Um, the Senate during that day introduced a bill by Chuck Grassley and Maria Cantwell, and it's been gaining support over the last few days. Um, and it's it's basically trying to limit the president's power over tariffs because he is just bankrupting the United States and killing off all of our allyship and all of our trade partnerships with all these countries like China. Yeah, it's been a long week, right? So we learned that that Senator Brian Schultz from Hawaii has placed a hold on 300 of Donald Trump's nominees, delaying their confirmations. And this is just a way of protesting what's going on because right now the Democrats have no power and we're just trying to use whatever leverage we had. And mind you, this is nothing new. This is out of the Republican play group. Remember that, they withheld military raises and military appointments um, last year or the year before last? It's just all melding into one. On the 8th of April, right, China says they will not back down and will respond to Donald Trump's tariffs by implementing at that time 50%. The U.S. Supreme Court sided with the Donald Trump administration, saying that they can begin deportations using the Alien Enemies Act, but these deportees need due process. You just can't put them on a plane and ship them out. They need to be able to answer and defend themselves during this process, which it makes sense because in that regard, he could put me on a plane. I'm a U.S. citizen and ship me off. He could put you on a plane and ship you off. And actually, his press secretary alluded to the fact that they were looking at ways to ship off American citizens who have been convicted of crimes to other prison camps and countries. And right now, they're trying to start the process and make a precedent out of this. The 8th was a busy day because now there was 104 tariffs against China that day. Donald Trump confirms tariffs will happen and that will be no relief. Again, we have to feel the pain and take our medicine as United States citizens. The stocks really tanked that day. The IRS will hand over confidential tax data on migrants to the Department of Homeland Security, we learned. Now, this has been against practice because these people are paying taxes. They were given Social Security numbers to report their income, pay taxes on that income on services they could never get because they are not citizens. So we reap the benefits of that, but yet we're gonna hand over that information, get them deported, and then we're going to seize their assets, and if they own any property, seize that as well. Which, it sounds horrible because it is horrible. And again, the 8th was a very busy day because Donald Trump considers drone strikes on Mexico regarding drug cartels, and we know that that's just a ruse. I actually made a video on the 8th, if anyone wants to take a look on my other social media, where I stated that this is not, in fact, about drug cartels. This is, in fact, has to do with the natural materials that Mexico has. They have plenty of water. They have plenty of things like lithium and other minerals that the U.S. wants to get after. And this is just all a ruse, to enrich themselves, not really the American people. This is about their companies going in and just taking over these natural minerals like we want to do in Greenland. So that's why he's so gung-ho on getting into Greenland. Thus, on the 8th began the breakup of Elon Musk and Donald Trump, where Elon Musk was saying, these tariffs are hurting my business and this is no good. He wants free trade with Europe and United States. He also wants to be able to travel for all of us, to be able to travel between the United States and Europe with little to no interference. And we know why that is. He's not making mention of any other country, especially any other countries that have, that have people of color. Now we're off to the 9th. And I'm just this is my first foray into this. If you have any suggestions, if you don't like this format, let me know. But I'm just recapping the news that took place. So we learned on the 9th that tariffs were going to be suspended for 90 days, except for China, which they raised to 125%. And then Donald Trump said, no, it's going to be actually 145%. China then takes TikTok off the table. So on that application, there's about 70 days left. We don't know what's going to happen. It may go away. Now I post there all the time, but if it goes away, it goes away. You know, there's other social media, and we'll have to figure that out. It is what it is. In other news that day, Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, signed a sworn statement saying that she was a Texas resident. But where did she vote? She voted in Hawaii, which is against the law. That's voter fraud. You know, what they accuse everybody else of doing, these Republicans are doing, openly committing voter fraud. And just like anything, it seems like this goes nowhere. No one gets, you know, prosecuted, or nothing happens to these people. And I'm just wondering why, because if it was any type of Democrat or any other official or person, they will prosecute us to the ends of the earth. Moving on to the 10th, which is closer to today, the 11th, the New York Times is reporting that the Social Security Office will terminate Social Security numbers of people granted work authorizations in the United States. So this makes it official. They're going to terminate these numbers to deport these people, to start that process, because you can no longer earn a living here. So then you can't reconcile your status of being here. So yeah, I know, guys, it's a lot. So Homeland Security agents reportedly tried to question two young students between the 1st and 6th grade. I initially reported it was the 5th grade, but it's the 6th grade. So this is about 6 or 7 years old to about 11, maybe 12 years old. They did not have permission. They didn't have warrants. They were in plain clothes. And luckily, the school in California denied them access to these children, because what type of threat do children pose to national security? It doesn't. It's just to remove these children and wreak havoc, like they have been doing the last, I mean, it's like less than 90 days, but it seems like 900 years. Let's talk about voting rights again, because the SAVE Act passed the House of Representatives. 4 Democrats joined that, which I can't believe. Democrats should not be joining anything that the Republicans are doing. So they are requiring passport and birth certificates in order to vote. Now, if you're trying to vote and you're trying to get voter registration, if you are a woman, your married name is probably not going to match your birth certificate. And if you don't have a passport, because passports are not for free, I think they run about $145, $150 to gain a passport. Your identification is not going to match, and then they're going to strip you of your right to vote. Now, the 4 Democrats that voted with Republicans are Jared Golden of Maine, Marie Perez of Washington, which is funny because her name is hyphenated. So, I mean, she's voting against her own interests, or she thinks she's above it because she's an elected official. We have Henry Cuellar of Texas and Ed Case of Hawaii. We love that. We love that. And lastly, the story, well, not lastly, but we're going to talk about Kilmar Abrego Garcia again, because the Supreme Court, in a 9-0 vote, said that he must be returned to the United States, that they will pass it back down to the lower courts to work out logistics, but that the United States must facilitate his return. Now, we just learned this afternoon that the Trump administration, those attorneys have stated to the judge, first of all, they missed the deadline. They also stated to the judge that we don't have to explain any of this to you because, you know, I guess they're going to cite national security reasons, which is ridiculous. I cited this as a win yesterday on my social media, but now hearing this nonsense, is it a win? Because there's still delayed tactics. I'm wondering if this person is even with us still, because this is all very scary. Yeah, so we shall see, right? So they're supposed to show cause. We don't know how far this is going to escalate. We keep talking about constitutional crisis, and here we are. Also in a tweet this morning, this is what I want to get to, right? In a tweet this morning, Trump made some it's not a tweet, it's a truth. So let me be accurate as I need to be and I should be reporting this news. In a tweet this morning, and I'll show this on camera, or a truth, sorry. I don't know how to add it to the video, so I'll figure that out later as I get more tech savvy. Mexico owes Texas 1.3 million acre feet of water under the 1944 Water Treaty, but Mexico is unfortunately violating their treaty obligation. This is very unfair and is hurting South Texas farmers. This guy can't write. South Texas farmers very badly. Last year, the only sugar mill in Texas closed because Mexico has been stealing the water from Texas farmers. Now, again, earlier I had alluded to the fact that this is not about them violating any treaty. So we look at the Mexicans' resources. So the non-renewable resources they have is petroleum and natural gas. Mexico has a significant oil reserves, mainly located where? In the Gulf of Mexico, which they renamed the Gulf of America, and this is why they want to take over the whole reserve there, period. There's no further explanation in that. They also have minerals such as silver, gold, copper, zinc, lead, iron ore, and lithium. Lithium is huge. So there was a new discoveries in northern Mexico, like the Sonora. It gained a lot of interest from a lot of people. And we'll get into what lithium is used for. Lithium is used for batteries, for smartphones, laptops, electric vehicles. Who does electric vehicles? Oh, somebody like Elon Musk. Power tools, renewable energy storage systems like solar panel batteries. Who does solar panel also? Tesla does it, Elon Musk. Greases and lubricants, right? Lithium-based greases are used in cars, airplanes, and industrial machinery, which can withstand high temperatures and reduce friction. What equipment does this? Drilling equipment, very important, right? To drill for oil. What else? Electronic equipment like servers. Lithium is also used in pharmaceuticals for bipolar disorder. Air treatment and dehumidifiers. Lithium chloride and lithium bromide are used in industrial air conditioning and dehumidifying systems, also relevant to computer servers and high heat equipment. Because of the global push towards clean energy and electric vehicles, lithium is sometimes called white gold. This is the new mineral. Mexico has plenty of it. Also, Greenland, under that layer of ice that's melting, they have plenty of it, and this is why we want Greenland so badly. It's because the rich natural resources, low population, so that we can control that environment and just rape the land of all of their minerals. And this is the news recap for this week. I plan to drop one of these every Friday or even maybe every Wednesday, depending on my schedule, because again, I'm just a working class person. Let me know your thoughts. Please send me an email. I'll drop all of that information in my contact page. If you can, give me a follow on other social media. I'm Simply Sugar.